Hi everyone, I'm Travis Swan with Swan Creative Studio, and I thought I should start making videos about the process that I use in order to create some of the knickknacks and jewelry we create in our jewelry department. I see a lot of videos out there, and this video is especially for RK3 Designs student alumni channel. That's a Facebook group that I am a part of where we collaborate and we share our ideas. And I also see a lot of small figurine makers on there. So I decided to make a video outlining my process. But this video is to show you that you don't need a lot of space to start in the field of epoxy. What I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna take you through my process. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. So in the next clip, you're going to see a much cleaner setup. So it's easier to follow along the process. But this is station one, where I use a vacuum chamber to take out all the air prior to pouring. We'll talk about some of those nuances with small figurine making or jewelry making for that matter. This might be a multi-part video just because this whole process does take about 90 minutes. And I don't know if you guys want to watch a full movie length worth of epoxy videos. So I'll publish them probably in sections where I talk about how to mix the epoxy, coming up with the concept and idea, how the vacuum chamber works, what to look for, the do's and don'ts that I have discovered by trial and error, our pouring methodology, molds that we've used, and then we'll finish it off with how we actually turn epoxy molds into functional jewelry. All right, so that is an overview of what we're going to be doing in this. I'm gonna say it's a video series at this point. So with that being said, let me go ahead, clean this up, and I will bring you back when this is all organized a little bit better. It's organized up here, and that's all that matters when I'm not making videos. All right, guys, so this is the second part. This is where I do a brief overview of the process of how we go from the liquid epoxy to full-fledged jewelry, which I can show you out in our, we have a mock trade show booth set up in our dining room. First thing I wanted to talk about was like the process, like how do you come up with things like this and ideas. And I want to say to that, I have a belief system, and through that belief system, I use epoxy as my outlet for that belief system. So that really gets into a why. I think that's a totally another video, is trying to work through your why. But as I come to this, I try to figure out how I can express my creativity when I don't have the tools necessary to go do countertop pours or to build countertops and store them someplace for 30 days to allow them to cure before the install, or to even transport a 30-foot countertop or an 8-foot countertop anywhere. I have a Mini Cooper and my wife's SUV, which is a really big SUV with only 4 seats. It's like the most useless SUV ever. But either way, so I decided to start making smaller objects, coasters, knickknacks, jewelry. Right now we make pendants, but as I get better at this, I'm gonna be making sets like necklaces and earrings. And my daughter helps me. She's just not available right now because she's outside with the dog, but you'll see in her in a second. So right now I wanted to take you through our process here at Swan Creative Studios and how we go from nothing to something to make, I think, some really, really cool pieces. All right, so this is our beginning station. I use Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy. I say use whatever epoxy you're comfortable with. I know Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy, For me, Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy has a really long open time, which I specifically need for this, specifically for this type of stuff, because it requires me to be in the vacuum chamber upwards of 5 to 10 minutes to remove a lot of the bubbles. And with other epoxies, it might start curing, or it might start getting really, really warm inside those containers while all that process is happening. So with that being said, we usually pour our epoxy in a large container, reusable, something of this nature. It's mixed at a 1-to-1 ratio, and you can do it, obviously, I'm doing this inside my my dining room right now because it has 0 VOCs, means there's no smell to it unless you start burning it, which I have on accident sometimes. But once we mix it in the container clear, I'm going to pour it into individual cups at whatever amounts I deem, because I already have an idea of like the color codes I'm gonna need or things of that nature. Come on. Here, you can stand right there. This is Isis.
Hi.
Here, actually, you probably be best over there, because then you're fully visible. So,
Hi.
so when we are determining, we have a myriad of colors and platforms to choose from. So just to talk about some of the things that I've used so far. I know it's a little dark because the light's behind us, but I have dyes in the back. These are Let's Resin dyes. I got them on Amazon. I don't know how well they work. I'm a man on a budget. All right. I also went to Hobby Lobby the other day, and they were having their 50% off on acrylic pours, and I got some Rogue. It's like a purple, and then a gray purple, which is a much lighter purple, almost in the blue spectrum. I got some alcohol ink or acrylic ink. I don't know. I've never used that, so I'm be happy to see how that works. This is some of the first things I ever bought. This is Stone Coat Countertops pigment epoxy. I think they're getting away from this because they're moving to Aculite or something. Something like that. I don't know. When I have money again, I'm probably gonna take a look at getting some of those, because they look really good. And I think those will replace these guys.
And the Just Resin, because we got Let's Resin.
Yeah, we got Let's Resin. I think the proper brand to get is Just Resin. But so some things that are not Stone Coat Countertop, I really like these eye candy mica powders. You can get them in large quantities for fairly cheap, and they have some beautiful colors. This is Bushido Brown. I have some dark ocean green, Okinawa green, and shadow gray. They're all like very beautiful colors. Some of the very first sample packs that I got when I started this about 9 months ago were these My Spring mica powders. Oh, the camera's over there. They got some really cool colors like peach gold and wine red. And then I did, when Stone Coat Countertop had their sale, I did get like the 1 gallon sample pack, which came with a bunch of packs of their metallics. So I have a whole bunch of those in all types of colors. So I really separate them by acrylics, dyes, then my mica powders, and those are really broken down into powders, and then my glitters. I have some silver glitter, some black glitter, and our glow-in-the-dark pigment.
Which made our cat.
Yes, which we have some of those. Some of the other things I like to do sometimes is just put clear with any one of our clear dyes, or we'll just pour a clear knowing that we're going to add something later. Now, with all that being said, because that took a while to explain, I add them to these cups. And when you add anything into a vacuum chamber, you only want to go about 1/3 of the cup. No more than 1/3 of the cup. Once you put it in the vacuum chamber and you start taking out the air, the volume of your product is going to rise as it tries to fill that vacuum space. So it's like gonna be pulling everything out. And that's those bubbles are gonna form, it's gonna froth and stuff. In the next video, I'll definitely show you a picture of that. We didn't clean our containers, so we have to go clean them before we can do a pour. I'm looking at you back there.
I'm gonna go clean them.
Okay. She's gonna go clean them and I'll finish up stuff. But just understand you can only fill about 1/3 once it goes in the vacuum chamber. Now, this vacuum chamber we got on Amazon. It was about $130. For me, it was a pretty significant investment, and I believed in like why I'm doing it this way. It comes with its own pump. Now, I will tell you that this pump does produce smoke, so I usually like to put on a fan, and I have it close to a window that's just off screen that you can't see, so it vents outside, but it does produce a little bit of smoke as it turns on. So I vacuum chamber it until my epoxy is crystal clear. No bubbles in it whatsoever. Now understand that when you put things in a vacuum chamber, it will continue to bubble forever. There will never be a point where it's not going to bubble. So with that being said, I'll show you guys what I look for it to stop bubbling, or what I believe there's a no more return on investment to get your bubbles. So moving from there, once we go past the vacuum chamber, and I'll show you how I incorporate our tried and true heat gun into that. It'll come over here to our pour station. We have several different types of knick-knack molds. As you can see, this one's a partial pour because we're gonna do some layered colors in this, and we wanted a hard line. I can definitely show you the difference between building a hard line and a soft line when you're doing epoxy pours. This is another one. This is a unicorn. It's gonna have a green horn and a green mane, and then a purple body that transfers into blue and red. This is one of our wolves. Now, this is one of the things I was talking about. So when you pour clear or anything else, you can incorporate certain things. Now, this is one of our flowers. I got a whole bunch of colors I can choose from when it comes to these small little flowers. I have some old flower petals that I like to use sometime. And when we get to the molds portion of the video, I can really show you guys like what to look for and some do's and don'ts when you're building a mold. Just as a precursor, I have this older mold here. As you can start seeing, there's a couple of X's in some of these, and it's really about whatever you put in this is what it's gonna come out. If your mold's not smooth or glossy, it's gonna come out really bad, or not the way you might want, at a different sheen level. And when I usually build my jewelry, I want a pretty high glossy sheen level. These are coasters that I've been making. Here's some others that are complete. What I really like to do with these is incorporate, let's see if you can see that, the mica powders with some translucent dyes, so you really get some really cool color palette. And so this was a 3-color pour. I did half of it in metallic gold or copper. I think that I just did it metallic copper. The top portion was a pink dye that we diluted pretty well with clear, and then we added clear to get like this selling effect. This is as smooth as glass, smooth as any plastic or anything, front and back. Very, yeah, if you can see it at that angle, that is a very smooth finish on both sides. So it's really just an optical illusion how it looks like that, and shows that really cool depth to it. And I'll work on getting these videos some pretty better light, but everything doesn't go smooth, and I want you to understand that once they are complete, they go into 3 piles. They go into bad examples. Maybe these ones had a lot of bubbles in it that we didn't catch, or like the mold got old and it was scratched and it transferred into the epoxy. Well, that's really the need to fix. You can fix those kind of things. And then we have an entire pile of good examples of different. I really want to see if I can't show these in the light. Like, this is a really cool example of a metallic heart that we did with some black glitter. This is a pretty easy one to determine. This was a heart we did with a touch of gold metallic, and then the rest of it we poured white. And when I start talking about pouring, it's a little bit different than all your other type of pouring, because everything happens backwards. Whatever you pour first is what you see in the final result. So this is the mold and curing station. It'll stay here for 24 to 48 hours or however long. I think this guy's been here about a week as we finish out the final pour on the bottom of him. I think he's a yellow, copper yellow guy. Some pretty cool things. So as we continue around the table, everything's in it. I got a little seat here. This is where the magic happens, the final station. So once I get my good to go pile, I will use these and my box of pendants. Right now I only have square. I have a couple of others, and I will start building pieces. This is our mock setup for when we're going to shows, how we do our stuff. I also do small furniture. Again, I don't have anything big to transport, even a large dresser or anything like that. So I do small end tables, coffee tables. Those are 2 other end tables, and I think that's one of my biggest sample boards that I have. That one and that guy down there. This is a table I built from a piece of canvas art. I don't know how I'm ever gonna get that out of my house. But if someone wants to buy it, by all means, pick up only, because I can't get it to you. So here is some of our other examples. I really wanted to point out some of the things you can do. Like this guy, this is we wanted to give him a black eye, so we poured mostly orange first, and then we made sure we poured black down the other side and then on the top, and it gave him like that one patch on his eye. Looked really cool. You can do almost the same thing with mica powers. This is a wolf head we did. We wanted to make it basically split in half. Obviously, we didn't get the full effect of a complete split. It's a little bit harder, but I think it came out pretty good. Or this is our glow-in-the-dark kitty cat. We used a pigment in conjunction with the blue glow powder, and this glows in the dark in different shades of blue at night, which is a really cool effect. Yeah. By the way, when I say I am like Swan Creative Studios, because my daughter does a lot of these. Okay. So really, when you're talking about making small jewelry or knickknacks, like the sky's the limit. Your creativity is the only thing that can stop you. This is a frameless pendant. We messed around with transparent colors to give like a ocean theme. So this is a yellow and a blue transparent. So it'll reflect off the light in really cool ways. Here is an example of a pendant with one of those flowers built in. This is a clear heart inset in an orange resin base and a square pendant with the heart with the flower on the inside of the heart. Really cool. I really like the way Isis did that. That was Isis. But I mean, the sky's the limit when it comes to building a lot of these. And as I walk you through my process of doing this, I'm all ears for ways that I can improve this because I'm really learning trial by error. So if you like what you see, make sure you comment. Let me know if you guys have questions, and I'll definitely try my best to walk you through this. Again, this is just an overview. I really didn't want to like throw a lot of information at you because this process is different than what we see in most of the videos on using epoxy for at least for building countertops. I do know there's several channels out there that deal exclusively in like knickknacks and stuff, but they all use some type of heat. I think, I don't know. I haven't seen them all. I'm just telling you what I know. So that is it for this video. I just want to tell you guys that if you like to see, make sure you check out our page, like us on Facebook, and make sure to follow us on Instagram. All the support we can get would be much appreciated. Thank you guys, and always remember, we make it happen together.